Sure doesn't look like it.
Wait,
Now it does. Now we're recording.
I
Oh,
pressed the button before, and other people said they had it.
Oh, okay. Lord
oh,
knows,
now
maybe
it's
I'm just
doing it.
recording on my end. All right.
It's showing a record button now.
I don't know, but just to give a recap for Milan and for anyone who's listening, if it didn't record, we went through the meeting minutes and approved them. We had announcements that were basically just Dark Shore is happening this week, yay. And then we had started on our first agenda item, which is County of Monterey update, non-profit site discount option. And basically what Cindy had just said was that nonprofits can opt to do service instead of having to pay $6,000 for an event. And she was filling us in on the details of that a little bit.
Correct. And then Rose had mentioned that when she worked with the library, that they didn't include not-for-profit groups. That's different than a non-profit group, apparently. So I don't know. I don't know the details of that, and that's something to look into.
Mm-hmm.
So the calendar year clause does sound like a problem, but otherwise, what sounds really great is since we're normally just packing up on Sunday, if we can turn that pack up into also doing the community service as we pack up on Sunday, that sounds like a really good combo there. So we Sunday of Dark Shore would pay our way for Feast of Odin, and the other way around if we can, but that runs into calendar year.
It would also make it so the event wouldn't have such a hard time being profitable, so we could offer stuff for less, possibly.
I talked with a couple individuals about this and putting together a potential presentation for here is what we will do. Like we could buy 15 trees and plant those 15 trees on the property and then do a cleanup, and just they would calculate all the hours and the value of what we were donating, and $2,800 per site versus $500 worth of trees, or even $1,000 worth of trees. Like there's ways to save money and knock things out in the same day, just like James suggested.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, it's definitely something we should look at.
Agreed. Possibly something we can ask people while we're down there this weekend. Maybe it's the same people. I don't know.
If it's for Feast of Mars, that's something you might want to potentially look into doing, simply because that's the next time we can request it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, talk to the people there. But Cindy and Jody both have a contact at the county office that we can discuss this with. So there is a potential contact.
Which is probably more reliable than a random ranger that we would run into there.
The ranger wouldn't know. They would tell you to go to county.
Yep. And very important, when talking to them, get what groups qualify, because like I said, it is a different county, so they could have different rules, but at least for our local counties, not for profit as opposed to non-profit makes a pretty big difference. Well, San Diego's local county, I should clarify.
Yeah, the form that they have didn't specify the document they said didn't specify, but yeah, we could probably call and get more clarification on it.
If you can get an answer tomorrow, I'm happy to do community service on Sunday to get a.
But we already paid for the site for Dark Shore.
But for Feast of Mars, if we can do the
future. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And to get volunteers, we can offer awards. We can offer. We will pay your site fee if you donate your time. Things like that. So there's lots of ways to really make this work for us. But you mess up once, you'll burn the bridge forever.
Sounds like a great opportunity for some of our future paragons to capitalize on.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If the
you
sign
can
in, get an
do
extra
that.
druid credit.
Ha,
I'll shoot them an email right now. We'll hopefully
awesome.
hear back by tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll start the conversation there, and that's a great opportunity. Can everybody see the itinerary?
Yes.
If I have my glasses on.
Ha. All right,
Yeah,
so
being
that's the
confirmed.
County of Monterey update. We really wanted to make sure that everybody knows about this. So hopefully it's something we can potentially take advantage of in the future.
And motion to table this to next month, when we can get some feedback on what the research is.
I mean, if we can get, we'll be there this weekend. So if we can get a response before that, and it seems unlikely, but
Well, sure, but for talking about it as a BOD again, I think is the real.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So not like, hey, let's not take any action, but let's postpone talking about it
Okay.
now so we have more information.
Sure. Seconded.
Awesome. I would like to talk about whether or not this is a good idea. There's no yes or no here. Should the BOD have access to the West March Google Drive for organizational purposes and document sharing?
I think at least some members of the BOD should. I could get not having too many people just because that's a lot to add access and take away access. But even if it was just like the president of the BOD or the secretary, the people who are responsible for document management should have access to documents.
Also the treasurer. Because the ledger is on there.
I like that. Just, just one person having access to it potentially.
Probably the treasurer then if the ledger's on there, because they'd be the one who'd need to look at it most frequently.
Well, at the moment, we have a number of Google Drives for West March. We have the Monarch folder. We have the COC violations folder. We have treasurer folders, I think. So it doesn't have to be all at once. And I would not want BOD on the COC violations folder, for example.
So potentially a better option might be sharing access to specific individuals as needed, as opposed to giving people direct login to the drive.
Or making a folder for BOD and putting all of the relevant ones that the BOD could potentially need access to in that folder, like the treasury.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
So I'm going to share this. This is West March BOD, or West March Board of Directors at gmail.com. And I created a drive, very simple, obviously, where we can put information that's easy to access. And I was going to give the password and information, like West March taxes and support forms. Here's how to file taxes for the 501k, things like this. Very straightforward. But that way we can have a place for at least, I'm trying to think of the right phrase to say it, and I apologize, I'm pausing. It's a way where at least we can all go and view everything and have access. So if you're on the BOD, I'm gonna send you guys the password to this so we can get into have a West March BOD email and all the documents here.
So as a note, hey chicken,
Yes.
Did we ever get access back to the Dragon Veil, the one that we created?
Not yet, no. I was still waiting on a response. I haven't been able to check lately.
So what happened when we tried to create a Dragon Veil one was I think because multiple people logged in from different places, they looked at it and thought it was suspicious and locked the account.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun.
Which is why sorry. Which is why what I was saying was, as opposed to giving everybody the username and password to that drive, share access to it to people's individual emails.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm
you know,
adding
one
notes
person,
on that.
right? One person would obviously need to have access to it, as like they're the person that actually is in charge at any given time. But if you share, say, a folder, other people can go into that folder and work with the documents in that folder. So you could have, you know, the BOD could see the BOD folders, and the Monarch could see the Monarch folder and the BOD folder. The Prime Minister could see the Prime Minister folder and the BOD folder.
That makes sense. I don't know exactly how to do that on Gmail or Google Drive, but I'll figure it out. Or I can give access to somebody who knows how to do it already. Let's see here. Link. I can see how you can get a link and stuff like that. I'll figure it out.
What you'd want to do is get people's individual Google accounts and share with them specifically.
Got it. Share the drive.
You can share a
probably
folder
share
or a
individual
file
folders.
or
Got it.
So
Well,
if you had a mass of folders that you want to share, you'd want to share, like, you'd want to put them all in one folder and then share that.
okay. Here is, and we're moving ahead just a smidge. This is the West March BOD amped wiki, and like that form that's on the Google Drive, I already created a link for it, and I put it right here that anybody who clicks this link can access it. So I'm gonna have a link for BOD handbook, BOD minutes, corpora, things like that, with approval from the group. Obviously, I'm not just doing this up front, but this is what I want to do. This is the working progress thing. Please let me know if this is of any benefit. And yes, we are a 501c7.
My only comment is, if you're doing a link to the drive, make sure that you have it set to where it's read only for people who have the link, not edit.
Perfect. They are PDFs, so I don't know if they'd be able to edit them, but maybe.
you can share things as viewer or editor.
Yeah. I will work to secure those documents. I think cybersecurity for these documents is minimal, but I definitely understand where the concern is coming from.
Yeah,
So,
you never know when someone's going to be a dick and just go in and like, oop, let's see what thing we can change to that we think would be funny.
Let's put a big picture of a rude gesture in this link.
Yeah, that
in this legal document.
Because people are always good and never do bad things at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, the next thing on the agenda is actually from last month, encouraging people to update their AMP wiki. I don't know why that's still on there. Is everybody okay if I just remove it? Do we have a motion?
Motion to remove.
I second.
Thank you. All right. I believe, I could be wrong. Rose, were you the one that suggested the bilingual flyer and having a conversation about that?
Yeah, bilingual flyer. And then I looked, I didn't see one. Do we have a bilingual waiver? Because we've had several Hispanic people come to our park and they have not liked the English waiver and have been very reticent to sign something they couldn't read, which seems entirely logical and fair.
I agree completely. I think that's common sense to at least have a digital version that people can access, and maybe parks that don't use digital versions to instead, print out a couple and just have a couple. But I think that's a good idea. Anybody else have any questions or suggestions about that?
If we were to make one, it would probably be good for someone who actually understands Spanish to do so. Sean?
I think we would need to have multiple people who are fluent in Spanish look at the form to ensure it was legible, and then to make sure that it met all the requirements for cultural sensitivity, as well as legibility and all those other things.
And legalese.
Legalese, of course, yes. Hopefully Victoria knows Spanish.
I just looked in the Google Drive and I do not see one there, but I also don't see our regular waiver there. So
Yeah, I saw a regular waiver on the CA AMP card, but I didn't see a Spanish version. But to be fair, I look at most things with my phone, and CA AMP card doesn't always load well with the phone.
That's what this AMP wiki is for. Eventually, I want this to have all the easy links for people to access. Will that always work? No idea, but it's something that can, hopefully work on. All right, so is there anybody who wants to potentially work on doing a waiver? Is there anybody who wants to head up that project?
I do not speak Spanish more than.
All right. Do we want to get at people in our parks to see if there's there's a bunch of people on here. Do we know individuals who might be interested in doing this?
Yeah, I would.
I wish our scribe was here. We can make him do it. Them do it, excuse me. Who's I would?
It's Chicken.
Well,
yeah, well, I can see about if I can help, and then also Walrus and his family as well. They've shown interest in helping Amcard as well.
I love it. That would be really great. Please reach out to those individuals if that's okay, and have them work on it, and maybe there'll be an award in their future.
I would love to give Casserola another award.
Ooh.
For the record, excellente.
All right. Do we have a Circle of Paragons update? I'm assuming no, but still gotta ask.
No significant action has proceeded. There is no document to judge for legality, so there's no action to take.
All right, so how about this? A motion to table until document exists.
Great, I second that.
Third.
Wonderful. Wendy, Cindy, are you within earshot?
Yes, I'm here.
I apologize for bringing this up, but I would like to talk about the Dark Shore payment discussions.
Yes.
And not just Dark Shore, but other things in the future. Here is my thought process, and it's very important to say that all these people that are working on these things are going above and beyond. They're not getting paid to do this work. They are not, in most cases, getting adequate compensation for their time that they're doing to put on events for other people. So anybody who works on Dark Shore and Feast of whatever the name is at the time, and Mid-Rain and everything else really deserves some type of commendation for that. So when we were able to get information about how to make payments, like the fact that somebody went through that effort is awesome. All of you here, the fact that you're going through the effort to be here is awesome, and you're not getting thanked enough, and you're not going to get thanked enough, but thank you for being here. So what I would like to discuss is how should we approach payments in future? Should we set a due date for making a payment? Because the Dark Shore payment came down to the last few days, and that could run the risk of us not having an event. So should we create an SOP for autocrats and other crats to say, this is how it has to go, so we can avoid potential issues?
Do we have a specific setup that we require for the bids that autocrats have to put in for these events?
No, not at all. And I do want to be super clear. Nobody's done anything wrong. I want to be super clear about that. But it was, okay, Jody, unmute yourself. Would you like to talk?
Sure. Sorry, I was typing away. You saw me. So, so the bids are due 6 months ahead of time. What happened this time is there was a new thing, of course, where there's a public meeting with the Parks Department. And in that meeting, I thought, and I apologize, Paul, I thought I was including the BOD liaison, but instead it was George Warner, actually, was kind of good because he's the autocrat for FOG. I'm just going to say Feast of Gods. But there is a new thing that there's a public meeting, and in the meeting they mentioned that it had to be discussed 2 months before the event. And a lot of the events that people gave reports for were in July. And there was 2 that were sooner than that. And ours was like 2 or 3 weeks out after this public meeting. So I think a big part of why it came down to the wire this time was that, and nothing that we did. Our bid went in, and I started contacting the Parks Department in December, I believe, kind of checked in every month. And then in April-ish, we were on the list, and, we just kept moving up on the list as Donna was processing the applications. And then the other thing was, because we didn't get the paperwork until May 9th, and I was at work, I couldn't answer and get the things and the forms and additional information to them until like that night, which went in the next day. And then there was a deadline for, I don't know, Cindy could probably fill this in, like a week before or 2 weeks before the event, the payment had to go in. And because we were within that window, we couldn't process the payment as a debit card for a 1.75% fee. It went in as a credit card.
2.5. Yeah, 2.5.
So then it was a 2.75% fee, where in the past we've sent in a check and there's been no fee. So there was a bunch of things that happened that pushed it back, basically a week or less before the event, things finalized.
So is there a chance that we could talk to the Parks Department and get that fee reimbursed or waived because they gave us no time for action?
I sent in an email.
Yeah, we asked that, and they told us about how we can request the whole fee to be waived. So that was kind of their response. But I believe, and I apologize for interrupting, Cindy. Please go for it.
Oh no, that was all I was saying.
Okay. Jody did reach out and request that the fee be waived. We have not gotten a response on that. But I think that, and please know, nobody did anything wrong. I am not saying that at all. And I'm going to say that multiple times. Everybody's doing their best, and this is great. We should find a pathway to mandate that the sites are reserved 2 months in advance, something like that.
So the site was reserved. I mean, Donna put us on the site because we've been going there for years. We had the weekend reserved way in advance. She said, payments and paperwork and all of that, that'll happen, but you have that site for that weekend. Bottom line, that was always secured. It was not dependent on paying. The other thing too is Donna's actually going to be, she said she's going to try to stop by Saturday and see what our event is like. So I can ask her personally about the fee when I see her on Saturday.
Bring a waiver.
She's gonna, so everybody's gonna have a waiver. I think we're gonna have a digital option for a waiver or a hard copy that you read and then you sign a list. Whoever is with our event is gonna have a waiver because the Salinas Fair is in town and I'm anticipating potentially more public wanderers into our event. So if you are a guest of our event, if you are involved in our event in any way, you check in at gate, you get a wristband, and you sign a waiver.
Awesome. Anything else you want to say about the upcoming Shark Door event that's happening this weekend? Weather looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think the weather's going to be good. It's going to be in the kind of low to mid 80s, and the nights are going to be cool at 50. I think we're having a couple new things. Leon's continuing his Friday night waffle bar, which was a big hit last time. I think he's going to do it up a little bit more this time. And then at the same time as that, Bacchus is going to be holding a Friday night karaoke bardic at the feast hall with his new PA system that a lot of people pitched in for.
Awesome.
And then the other thing that's really new, I'm just really excited to kind of get closure because we were going to do this pre-COVID and then, you know, COVID. And so I'm really excited that we're going to get to actually do it and have the event. And the one thing that I think is going to be better than it would have been originally is Michael Gonzalez, Tiberian, is our Flurbocrat. So they've been working really hard on having classes, having a flurb activities. And then there's also a couple things that they're going to do that the winner of that challenge will get a boon for one of the battle games. So we're tying in the flurb with the battle games. That's it, period.
Sounds good.
That's all I got.
So back to the question earlier, then is it they're listed a specific format or specific things needed in the bid for that event?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Can you?
Well, like, do we have a list of all the different things an autocrat needs to provide in the bid?
That's what we need the SOP for. That's exactly what I would like to do is make it like how I made the how to do the tax thing for the future. I encourage you to look at it. I'm very proud of it. James helped me with it, by the way. I do want to mention that. But oh, and so did Asus. We need an SOP so we can give it to an autocrat step-by-step instructions on how to do everything to make it super easy so people don't have to reinvent the wheel every 6 months.
So there's a bid form on CA Amped Guard that is a useful outline for making a bid. It really focuses on the budget and then an outline of, you know, games and feast and all of those things. What it doesn't include is any information on actually what you have to do as an autocrat to set up with the county the event. I believe Matt Bryant, he is going to be doing his class on cratting an event. And I know the first time he gave the presentation, he did talk about some of those other things. And I believe he was going to be making some kind of a document on how to autocrat an event. So you might want to reach out to him and see what he has in that.
It wouldn't hurt to have specifically how to work with the specific King City Parks Department, though, like something detailing what you have to do, seeing as we do it every 6 months. So like events in general can switch it up because like for the out space, a big part of that is going and doing site cleanup beforehand and then dealing with the guy who owns it, so like it can be very different even event to event with that one, but knowing where to submit paperwork and who the contacts are and stuff like that, it wouldn't hurt to have a list of that so that if somebody is a new Pratt, they don't have to like hunt down people and be like, who did you contact for this?
Or even an old Krat that did something 6 months ago. I don't remember who I emailed 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I
It was
can
me
put
and you
something
promised to pay.
together if you want after Dark Shore. Is kind of part of a debriefing if you want, and then I can just put it in a document, Brian, and link it to you if you'd like.
I would love that. And then we can have other individuals keep adding to it like a stone soup. And eventually we'll have a great document with wonderful information that I can host on AmpWiki. And then everybody's just going to know where it is, hopefully, and be able to use it.
Along the lines of what was just mentioned as classes on things, I am talking with Azus about running a class on how to PM.
I think that's very valuable. I think encouraging people to want to do offices is great. And I think the fear of not knowing what to do is keeping people who are qualified from stepping up.
Yeah, I mean,
PM
it's
is
easy to do
pretty
it it's easy to do at a land level and walk somebody through PM, but not necessarily at a kingdom level. So that might be very valuable.
I mean, even at a land level, a lot of people are intimidated because it sounds like a lot more work than it is.
Managing
Sure, but I mean,
money and inputting records and everything. How do I be an admin on the org? How do I
How do I go in and edit other people's works? That sounds so complicated.
Kevin would love to attend that class.
Brian, would you please, for the love of God, capitalize all the letters in SOP?
No, keep it uncapitalized. Keep it uncapitalized. Good job.
All right. Permission to move on to the next level.
Jody just asked if we needed anything else from her, and if not, she needs to go pack.
Jody, if you can hear us, thank you so much for your time. Have a great Dark Shore. And I would like to say that Jody has been very forthcoming. Whenever I needed something, I would reach out to Jody and she would tell me quite swiftly. So that's always been valuable. I've appreciated that.
You're welcome. You guys are awesome. Take care. See you tomorrow, I hope. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jody.
Bye-bye.
Motion to move on to bank account update.
Second.
Third.
Thank you. We may not have this information yet. The biggest thing that I wanted to bring forth is, should we take all the money out of PayPal and put it into Wells Fargo?
I have this information.
Oh.
I have the PayPal and Wells Fargo account information. So if you want to know the balances and stuff, then I can give you that.
Thank you. I'm not going to put the balances into the notes. Please speak away.
Okay, so let me just
I'm here if you need me, Cindy.
Oh, do you have it up right now?
Which do you
I'm
want?
trying to do it through my phone.
I have I have most everything up.
Okay, so go ahead and start with the PayPal account.
Oh, I don't have the PayPal account. I'm sorry. That's the one
Oh,
thing
you
I
don't have PayPal.
My bad.
Okay, let me log into the PayPal account then.
Is it listed in the ledger at all?
It is listed in the ledger, yes. It's one of the
Okay,
tabs in the
there it
ledger,
is.
and it's
I
all
got
up to date. Yeah.
So
go ahead and just share
current
it.
balance in PayPal is $1,622.18.
Okay.
What all information are you looking for, Brian?
Basically, I would like to make sure that the ledger is updated and that
it is updated, yes.
Is the ledger public record?
No.
All right,
Should it be?
so does anybody have anything against making the ledger public record?
No.
Yeah, as long as we're not leaving any of the bank account information on it, I think it should be fine to post the like balance or information like that.
I think that's a
And
great
I don't
way
think
to
we have.
avoid. I think that's a great way to avoid potential issues with manipulation of funding.
Yeah,
If
I would
everybody
agree with
knows
that.
what the ledger is, if everybody knows what the balance is, then it's harder to hide embezzlement.
I have
Exactly.
no objection to it unless there's something in the corpora that says we can't.
As far as I know, and this actually did go, it was looked into when lands were still submitting audits because somebody had an issue with SG having a bank account. The corpora does not state anything about how financial records are kept or recorded.
Okay.
Obviously, we need to make sure that it's in the corpora. It sounds like we're good there, but potentially I would like to discuss making the ledger public record. I think the more eyes, the safer the funding is, but I'll leave that to the peanut gallery. I don't want to make any decisions.
I kind of don't want to make the ledger completely public. Maybe we could do like a monthly report that shows money in, money out, and then the balance at the end of the month.
That
That's
would be
something
more
that,
what I would be encouraging. Yeah.
yeah, because that's what I have right now. So if you guys want to see what money went in and went out since March, I can show you guys that. I think that's what I did. I have a report for that.
It sounds like this would actually be a thing that would be a good thing to include in a quarterly newsletter that the scribe's supposed to produce.
Hey,
Hey, Jay, I think we got a job for you.
I
Sadly,
think
Jay's not here.
I think they have a new
Thought
task.
Jay was on here. Okay.
And that would be easy because basically we have 5 accounts, right, Cindy? The PayPal plus 4 bank accounts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we could
We have a Dark Shore.
very easily
Beast.
report the balance in each of those accounts in a
Mhm.
newsletter.
Yeah. Anything else?
So
The other thing is put all fund in Wells Fargo, which my question for that would be how frequently are we paying for stuff with PayPal? Because if we're paying for stuff frequently, it makes sense to leave money in there.
We have
multiple times a month.
and I've been paying anybody who's done any scroll work or any things for nights or things like that. Like I've been paying those out through the PayPal account because it's easier to get it to people, or reimbursements for any other activities.
Please tell me if I'm wrong on this because I often am. If there's no money in your PayPal, it comes directly out of your bank account. So
yes.
Do we need money staying in the PayPal? Does that benefit in any capacity?
Do we need a prudent reserve at all?
It makes ledger writing easier because instead of writing that money came out of the bank account and into PayPal and then out of PayPal,
you'd have to do it 3 times.
You only have to do 1 entry as out of PayPal as opposed to 3 entries.
It also would save a little bit of time because otherwise, if the money comes into PayPal, you have to say where it goes. At least that's the way it functions with mine. And then I have to like go in and be like, yes, I want it to go to this bank account. And if you just leave it in PayPal, you don't have to do that every time.
Perfect. I'm convinced. Thank you for telling me that information. That is valuable. And I hope that these notes and minutes from these meetings help explain this. All right, motion to move on from the bank account update.
Second.
So wait.
Yeah.
One thought I still had on bank accounts and such regarding someone mentioned paying for scrolls and such. Basically, when we have a scroll maker make something, if they request funds, we generally it's like, that's what you want, sure. Some scroll makers have never requested funds, so this may be a general another topic, but do we want to make a standard offer for when we request scroll work?
Yes,
Okay.
my
so
answer to that is yes, because
even if they have not requested any?
yes, because a
Great.
lot of times they don't think about it till later, and then they feel awkward about requesting, and then they feel pressured that, oh, well, I didn't request it from the start, so I can't request it now. But then that actually hurts the kingdom, because a lot of those people turn around and they don't want to make scrolls if the kingdom asks again.
We
Okay.
may have first-hand accounts from somebody of
From a
that
couple
happening
people.
too.
Yeah, I've seen that from other LARs where some people feel that way.
Well, we already have an issue with people stepping forward, so let's do our very best to minimize that. Also, Cindy, well, not Cindy, but Scoot, somebody,
Yes.
the public ledger, the report, I would like to see what that looks like. So if somebody could send me a copy of that at some point in time, that's great. If I don't hear anything, I'll email Cindy. Motion to move on. Does anybody want to talk about anything about the bank account or scroll work or other funds?
Well, part two of where I was going there was we don't sometimes scrolls are surprises for stuff, so I would want any ledger of it to be after it was awarded.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Does anybody want to work on putting together an SOP for scroll work flat fee?
The ideal people to work on that would be Allura and Spade. But I can take that on. I mean, I'm not going to be BOD after Sunday, but
I mean,
Well-
you said Alira, right?
Allura.
Are they
Allura.
Not
gonna be
Alira.
at Alira? Okay, if they're at Dark Shore, we can just talk to them both.
yeah. So
Is Spade going to Dark Shore?
Thank you for that, James. Please
I
feel
think
free.
Spade is.
James, please feel free to ask for my assistance if you need it.
Sure.
And thank you for that. Motion to move on to park numbers.
Second.
I had a anonymous request to bring up in the BOD meeting information about attendance versus land status. I will say on the public record, I do not like anonymous requests at all. I think everything should be done in person, and anybody who makes a request should be respected regardless of what it is. So please, if you ever want to make a request, nobody should ever chastise you at all about it. So please feel free to have your voice heard and respected. I think West March has taken a very strong stance on respect and understanding and support. There are, according to this individual, there are some parks that have duchy land status, barren land status, higher land status, but they're pulling less than 10 a week. And this individual feels it's not fair that those parks are able to maintain their higher status when other parks are not able to be above Shire, that sort of thing. And what is the BOD doing about it? So I said, I have no idea. And I looked at the Kapora, and the Kapora said, do nothing. And so I figured I'd bring up who is looking at this? Should we look at this? And should we punish groups in a post-COVID era for not having their recruitment up to par just yet?
So I have two parks in particular that I have talked to about this are Crimsonwood and Misty Vale.
Okay.
Crimsonwood petitioned me to voluntarily demote to barony. That still has to go to an all thing to get approved. They petitioned me the day that all things were supposed to go out, so it did not go out. It did not seem like an emergency measure, so I did not push it. Misty Vale, is considering dropping, but last I said, they asked, they said they were not willing to put in the formal request yet.
And if I remember, Misty Vale, the champion of West March is there, and he takes half of Misty Vale on the road every other week.
Well, I don't know about that. I believe he takes more than Misty Vale's numbers of players on the road. Misty Vale is probably the most reasonable of the requests for it, seeing as they have been having a lot of trouble with numbers. But per the change in the Kapora, I believe the proper person to go to would be the Monarch for that, not the BOD anymore. And then if the Monarch wishes to do a non-mutual reduction in status, they would request an audit to be submitted as is still allowable in the Kapora at any time.
The Kapora says that the BOD deals with parks on a contractual obligation, which in my opinion has nothing to do with land status.
Correction on data, may I approach?
Yes, please. You always have the floor, Bear Bear.
Thank you. Originally in my home's from Forest Refuge. The people are not from Mistyville. Just wanted to let everyone know for that record. The ones I take up on the road. But I do take people from other lands if they're willing to tag along to go south, north, or east.
Yeah, I know you definitely have some people from Volande going with you, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the amount of people he takes is a lot more than is currently showing at Mistyville.
That was all that was supposed to be saying there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we're able to talk about this, and I'm glad that it's already being addressed. I suppose maybe this should be made a bit more public for other parks that are concerned about it, if this is a conversation. But I personally don't see it as a big issue, but I'm just one person and I want to respect anybody else's opinions.
So yes, I talked with at least the two lands I was aware of. If there are others that need to change status, I was not aware of them. I will be letting Kaya know as well that, hey, these lands are doing this.
I'm pretty sure the only other duchies are SG and
Wavehaven?
I'm blanking on yeah, Wavehaven.
No.
Ravensburg.
Ravensburg just became a duchy. Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
They just became a duchy, and their attendance shows 21 for when they last had attendance.
Yeah, I think we're good there, and I also think that if a park goes from a duchy to a barony or something like that, I don't think it's that big of a deal either. If people are still playing the game and still have the benefits, it is what it is. We're a pretty tight knit kingdom, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure that the attendance is being properly entered for Wavehaven, which is maybe something someone should talk to them for, because their sheet shows 1 day of attendance in the last 6 months in November, and I know for a fact from looking at their Facebook that they've had more than that. So it might be
Wavehaven or Ravensburg, babe?
Wavehaven.
Oh wait,
I know.
yeah, Wavehaven. Is it Wavehaven or Wavenspur? I'm
so
terrible.
Wavenspur is the duchy. Wavehaven is barony.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because I was like, what?
And Wavehaven used to be a duchy that did get demoted to barony.
Wavenspur has an average attendance of like 20 people right now. So
Ravensburg's doing great.
They're good.
Champion also confirms Ravensburg's doing great.
Is there anything else that we would like to discuss about attendance versus land status and park numbers, or would we like to move on to the next one?
I would like to just point out to any groups that are saying, hey, we have higher numbers, why aren't we a duchy? It's no longer an automatic bump up thing. But if they have the numbers and they feel like they're ready they should put in a bid to bump up their status.
Perfect. Motion to move on to taxes.
Second.
Thank you. This one's super easy. Cindy was kind enough to do the taxes. James and I put together an SOP on how to do taxes and the SI 100 statement of information. It went really well. We have a really neat pathway to do the taxes moving forward. Azus brought this up to us. The SI 100 statement of information only needs to be updated every 2 years, but we change every 6 months. So the SI 100 that was on file did not have any of us on it. And so we chose to update it. So you can update the SI 100 every 6 months if you wanted. It costs nothing to do. So if anybody says the SI 100 statement of information needs to be updated every 2 years, if you want the contact information to be correct, it should be done every 6 months, technically.
Mm.
And if you wanted, I could show you that. Does anybody really want to see it?
Not particularly.
All right, well, I will show this. I know what I can do. I will pull up the tax SOP. This is the how to view West March prior tax submission forms. Go to this website, do this stuff, how to submit yearly tax forms. And then every 2 years, West March must file SI 100. For individuals who want to be proactive, it can be filed for free every year at this link. There's no charge to file the form. So this is what we have. It's a working document. We've been making some small edits to it. I've been reaching out to people to ask for help.
Be like, okay, we have to outlaw this.
What?
Sorry. A stream I was watching went to a new person and then it became unmuted.
I love it.
I was just like, that's kind of a radical step. I don't have that much of a problem with any of Milan's proposals that we need to outlaw them.
It won't be the first and won't be the last. All right. So, anyways, but this is on the SOP is on the West March Board of Directors AMP Wiki. So it is something that people will be able to access if they so desire. I don't know why these circles are getting in here, but that's super fun. All right. Motion to move on to digital waivers.
So Rose completely dropped the ball on the digital waivers and has nothing to update.
That's okay. Plus, we don't want to make James do anything with this. We should probably present it to the new monarch in June anyways.
Okay. Sounds like a good excuse for not doing what I was supposed to do.
I second this motion.
All right. Motion to move on to the trademark West March logo.
Second.
Wonderful. This will also probably be tabled. This will probably be tabled for June as well. But so last month I said, should we trademark the West March logo? So I'm going to go through this really quick and we'll probably table this for June as well. So what is a trademark? It's a word, name, symbol, or device. How long will the trademark be active? It's active for 5 years, and then you can renew it for another 5 years. Who owns the trademark? It can be an individual or it can be the business entity. So West March could own the West March logo, and there's links to verify this information. How much will this cost? $70 for the first registration, $30 each 5-year window after that. So $100 for 10 years of protection. This falls well below the Kingdom Monarch discretionary spending. How do we confirm the status of the trademark if we go for what? Somebody said something.
I'm good with this.
Love it. How do we confirm the status of the trademark if we do indeed go forward with it? Here's where you can search active trademarks. You can look at all the trademarks. Why would we do this? This will ensure Westmarch has control over who chooses to use their logo and name. It's a simple and affordable step to prevent Scoot from taking the logo and writing Westmarch sucks and selling bumper stickers. Okay, so how do we go about doing this? This falls well under Article 3, Section 3, Subclause 10. Thank you, Scoot. Receipts are required. However, we could put it to a yes or no all thing vote as well. What would the all thing vote look like? Do you approve Westmarch to spend $100 over 10 years to protect the Westmarch logo and name from improper use by archers and scouts? So I felt this was a good idea.
I have a small problem with that.
Let's hear it.
Clearly, it needs to be protected from bards and scouts. I don't know why you're throwing archers in there. Bards are the jokey ones.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
So,
well,
joking aside, if someone wants to make a scroll that has the Westmarch logo on it, possibly in slightly different colors, is this a limitation against that?
What it allows us to do is to choose if we wish to claim trademark discrepancy. We do not, it's not automatic. We would have to actually bring it forth and say, hey, you can't use our logo. And they would say, well, it's not trademark, so I can do whatever I want. Instead, we would say, hey, you're using our logo improperly. And that's where the trademark would be enacted, where we would report them to the trademark people and they would say if it's a trademark or not. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if somebody changes the logo a little bit, it gets reviewed by sos.ca.gov. Let me see. I'm going to open that right now. I want to be 100% on this. Apologize.
A lot of this is stuff that I don't think would be a problem, but if we're looking at something for 10 years, I want to future-proof it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We would have to get a lawyer involved. We can report, we can send them a cease and desist letter. And the cease and desist letter says, hey, this is a trademark violation. Please stop using it. If they ignore the cease and desist letter, then we can go to the next level. So it looks like I might have to table this because I don't have this information. I apologize. That's a great question, James. It's literally a court case.
So sorry, what exactly was the question we were trying to solve?
Ask away, James.
If say someone wants to make a scroll for an award or something, and they want to maybe change the colors of the logo a little bit to do it, is that still acceptable? And what kind of permissions, what kind of problems can occur from that if we go this route?
We would have to actually choose to seek action against that individual if we felt it was a negative use of our logo. If it was a positive use of our logo, we wouldn't say anything.
Right. Okay.
Do we
as long as that is an option, because I know that there are things of, well, if you don't protect your copyright when it comes up, then you lose it. And I've heard of that type of thing.
Yeah, I think this is need more info. If you don't defend, do you lose the logo? I thought I had everything covered. I did not. Thank you for that, James.
And also, would not having to defend it be as easy as giving a paper to anybody we have make scrolls saying they have permission to use it for this purpose?
Cool.
But
I
yeah,
believe if we give people specific permission that it does, because that's how it works for if you want to use anything that is officially Disney, you have to get a paper from them saying that it is okay. Which I actually have a friend who does that, and she has to like get an updated sheet every year that says, yes, you have our permission to make your little bags. But how much more work is that versus benefit?
okay. So Brian, you're gonna
I
look into
technically
it more
still
as
have a
the
document
answer.
from Wizards of the Coast that says I can make a Dragonlance movie.
Wow. And you haven't done it yet?
I have not. Well, I sort of have.
All right, I am going to work on getting the information for the West March logo. James, you're Monarch for 3 more days.
Mhm.
I think I'll probably be presenting this to another individual. I won't have the information in 3 days. I apologize.
Okay.
If you want to move forward with it, by all means, I will post my why you should do it in the Discord if you want to read it and look into it yourself. But we'll go from there. I will have something for June with permission from everybody else.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Move on to brief follow-up on AmpGuard International. Second. All right. So I sent an email to AmpGuard International asking for clarification on the money that West March gave to AI, and I got a response from not Chicken, I'm sorry. Shoot.
Smiley?
No, I apologize. I can't remember the
Smiley?
individual's name. The individual's like, yeah, what question do you have? And so I said, here's my question. And oh, it was Chewy. It was Chewy.
Chewy.
Yeah.
That does sound kind of like chicken.
Yeah. And on May 4th, I sent an email. I got a response on May 4th. And then on May 15th, I followed up because I hadn't had a response. And I still have not had a response. But my question was, I'm on a fact-finding mission to answer some questions posed by the populace to ensure our records are streamlined and accurate. I'm attaching a PDF graphic that I want to confirm was accurate with your organization. According to the ledgers and records that we have access to, we are under the belief we'd like a second set of eyes. I want to be forthright and clear that West March is 100% support of AmpGuard, AI, and the AI BoD. My questions simply pertain for records purposes. And then I asked about how much funding we had given and what it was used for, that sort of thing, so we can add notes to our records on our end. Have not gotten a response yet. When I do get a response, I will notate this. I'm assuming it might be in June.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Sounds like the best we're gonna get.
Yeah, definitely need to get a response. Maybe we'll never get a response. Lord knows. Motion to move through BoD handbook because I haven't done it yet, and 501c3. Move to 501c3.
Second.
All right. We talked about this previously. A Texas AmpGuard Kingdom moved to a 501c3 recently. Amazon Smile. Does everybody know what Amazon Smile was, or do I need to explain it?
I don't know what it is.
If you go to Amazon Smile, you can choose a nonprofit, and every purchase you make on Amazon, Amazon will donate 0.5% of your purchase to a charity of your choice. I do the San Diego Turtle and Tortoise Society. So every Amazon purchase I make, if I do $100, they get a nickel or whatever 0.5% is. But if every West March member did Amazon Smile for their Amazon purchases and we were a 501c3, that's money. That's money that we're getting. And on top of that, Darkshore had some private donors, people that donated money and we were unable as a 501c7 to give them a tax deductible receipt. One of those individuals who donated money to Dark Shore is on this call, and they're unable to claim it on their taxes. We are able to solicit donations. We are able to be more viable as a nonprofit. I think this is something we should strongly put together a proposal for, put it forth to an all thing, and make it a reality. I think it's about time we did this.
Other than the extra work to make it happen, are there any downsides?
As an individual who had $250 burning a hole in his pocket and wrote a one-page note in Microsoft Word and was magically given a 501c3, I don't see any downsides.
I see lots of benefits.
Wasn't there also a Belligarth that also does that too? That has a smile shop?
I don't know, Chicken. That's a very good question. I know that I didn't come up with that myself. Obviously.
No, I was like saying like we can also see with like from their choice. I already follow them. I can just send it to you guys real quick when I get the link.
Yeah, I love it. And I think things like that, just like we were hemming and hawing about if we should rent a storage unit or rent a trailer, like, or buy a trailer. That's if we had the funds coming in, we would be able to do more things. So I think it's a good idea.
I agree, it's a good idea.
All right, so let's put together a proposal for June. Is that acceptable?
Yes, let's orient it all around James Anderson. He is absolutely critical to that meeting.
Perfect.
Well, I am planning to run for PM in 3 months, so I will be back soon, hopefully.
Good. Thank you for Chicken dropping the link into the West March BoD Discord. And now we can look at the Amazon Smile for Bellegarth and hopefully copy that. I love it. All right. So, let's see. I think we're good there. I think that might be it for the meeting, guys.
Looking at this, there's totally a note on that post that says they dropped that program on February 20th.
I would be interested in finding why. Or are you saying Amazon dropped the program?
Amazon killed the Smile program?
That's what somebody posted on this link that Chicken just shared.
Holy what? Let's see here.
I haven't looked it out in a while. I just knew that they had a Smiley one. Last time I checked, I was able to go on it. So that is news to me.
From the Amazon website, Amazon permanently shut down the Amazon Smile customer donation program on February 20th. We are continuing to pursue other areas where you can make meaningful change, including blah-de-blah-de-blah.
Well, don't ever let anybody say we're not on the ball. All right. Well, there's other benefits, and that's what we're going to do for the proposal for June. All right.
I can poke around and see what happened if you guys want me to.
Yes.
I
would like everybody in this meeting to help with this because this is a big thing. This is the biggest thing we're going to do all year.
A really big thing is this change would have the biggest, like, there are a lot of impacts for West March as a whole, but this would also have a lot of impacts for local parks because stuff like meeting at rec centers or getting meeting rooms at libraries for A&S nights. If you're a nonprofit as opposed to a not-for-profit, it becomes immensely easier. Like the difference for the city of San Diego between renting a meeting room and booking it as a nonprofit is $150 an hour.
Holy cow. Well, there we go. Please feel free to send me information about all of that. And there we go. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to have to depart from this meeting quite soon. I want to mention that just because, and I don't want to, but I have been running time. Oh, good Lord. Anyways, we need to schedule our June meeting, and we'll go from there. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about during this BOD meeting?
I want to talk about scheduling the June meeting.
Perfect. Okay, quick run through. Let's make sure we get in contact with the County of Monterey. I would like to get somebody at BOD access to the West March Google Drive. Do we think the secretary should be the person? Or do we think it should be the person in charge of finance? Like, who should be in charge of it?
I mean,
If
like I said, it
have
would
an
make
answer, I can add that access right now.
it would make
Well-
sense for me to have access to at least the PM folder for the ledger.
Yeah, let's have let's have Andy Brown have access to it moving forward. What's your official title again, Andy?
Treasurer.
Treasurer. Let's make sure the treasurer has access. That's a good task. So let's call treasurer. And I'll add that to the BOD handbook when I finally finish it.
And
Chicken.
if you,
Yes,
message me your email address.
Sure.
we'll do.
Chicken, thank you for working on the bilingual flyer and waiver. I appreciate that. That's more helpful. I think that's going to be more helpful than we know at this very moment. Everything else looks good. James might do a how to PM, which is awesome. Let's get the scribe on actually reporting something, including the ledger. And we need to make a flat fee for scroll work. I think those are all good tasks. Let's schedule the June meeting, and I am going to stop the recording so we schedule the June meeting. So thank you, everybody. Cool.